Well, hello again, everybody. It's Friday, and that means it's time for roll call, and this always fires me up. And for those of you that tune in every Friday, just know that you fire me up. And for those of you who are new to this approach, hey, thanks for being here. And in case you're wondering, this is the place where we dig deeper into the principles that our team has introduced to you by way of our keynotes, our workshops, our breakout sessions, the Top Gun Teamwork Program, and wherever else it is that we connected with you. And if you and I haven't yet met, my name is Robert Teschner, flying call sign Cujo, founder and CEO here at VMAX Group. And this Friday's roll call reflection is a little bit different. I've been asked to give some insight into me, into what makes me tick, into how it is that I came to be me. And there's any number of angles that we can take on this thing. I'm willing to accommodate. But I am going to try to bridge the gap here. I'm going to offer you a little bit of insight into how it is that I evolved into me, but then I really want to take some of the lessons from that to help you, because the whole point of this is to help you lead more effectively next week. All right, so I've picked three things that are inflection points in my development. We'll start with point number one, and that was you're talking to a failure. I failed at my effort to get accepted to the United States Air Force Academy, and it shaped me. And I will tell you, in case you don't know, that it had been my ambition to join the United States Air Force Academy ever since 1977 when I saw Star Wars. And I wanted to be like Luke Skywalker, and he wanted to go to the academy and then fly X-Wings, and I wanted to do the exact same thing. So ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy. And in fact, I almost didn't apply anywhere else because that was literally the only place that I wanted to go. And so I submitted my application, and then I come home one day, and there's the envelope from Colorado Springs. I'm like, yes, this is it. And much to my dismay, the letter inside said, you've not been accepted. And it was a generic letter, meaning it was one that went out to the tens of thousands of people that also didn't get accepted with me. And it didn't even say, like, try again next year. It was that unimpressive. I remember being quite disappointed. I also remember not dwelling on it too much. I remember thinking, okay, all right, we wanted Air Force Academy in order to become a pilot. Luke didn't go to the academy, though, and he still became a pilot. So immediately I reoriented and had fortunately also applied to the University of Missouri, and fortunately they accepted me. And so, my new game plan was become a pilot through the University of Missouri. Fast forward, I finish up my final of high school, and Mom comes out to school and lets me know that Senator Bond's office had called and I got accepted. I was going to the academy. Mere weeks prior to the beginning of basic training, I become the tail end Charlie of my class, the last person to get accepted probably. My acceptance was predicated upon other people ahead of me turning down their appointments, most likely. And here we are. Good. So that was a spectacular failure that ended up, due to great fortune and circumstance, luck, turning into a win. What's the lesson that I would offer you there? I went to a pretty tough school with tremendous gratitude. It had been my life ambition to be there, but the fact that it was taken away from me for a short period of time made me that much more grateful for the eventual acceptance. And I would tell you, it was probably a really good thing for me, because in my own mind, I was a pretty sharp kid. I thought that I had a compelling resume. I thought that I had done great work leading up to sending in my application. And had I been accepted by the academy outright, I would have shown up with a smidge of pride. And I don't know how that would have played out for me. But I know that I lost all pride with my lack of acceptance. And then pride was replaced with tremendous gratitude for the gift of a second chance. And I showed up in Colorado Springs just overjoyed that I was even there. And as we went through basic training and as we lost people, smart kids, much smarter than me, much better athletes than me, much better geared towards most of the things that we were being exposed to, who for whatever reason decided that this wasn't for them. I kept on chugging along going, I almost didn't have this. And I'm going to stay with it till the very end. I came with so much gratitude. And I suppose that the follow-on leadership lesson for us to consider is, are we giving things away here, or do people have to earn it? Do people have to earn the right to join us? Or are we just saying, hey, come one, come all, anybody gets to be on our team because we're so hurting for manpower, bandwidth, whatever we call it, that anybody gets the job? Do people earn their way on? Do people earn their way onto the teams that we have here? And most importantly, do people earn the right to lead them? And if not, what does that mean to us? What does that do to how much they're willing to give? What does that do to the whole team dynamic? I will tell you, I showed up with gratitude because it was taken away from me for a short period of time, and then it was gifted back to me, and I valued the heck out of that gift. Probably a worthy reflection for us to think about this weekend. Good. The second thing that I will share, insights into me, is that I experienced a pretty profound loss early on in my Air Force Academy experience that shaped the way that I thought for a long time, and not in a good way. So the very short story is, when I showed up to the academy, the basic contract was, if you can graduate this place and you're pilot qualified, you're going to fly airplanes. And that's why most of us went there, I would say. The ambition was to fly airplanes. So like if you end up with a 2.0, but you're pilot qualified, you're good to go. You're going to go fly airplanes. And that was the construct right up until, I think it was first semester freshman year, when the chief of staff came out and said, new construct, only 225 of you are going to fly. We just don't need pilots anymore. Changing strategy, fall of the end of the Cold War. It was it was a tough circumstance. The seniors were basically rookie dude. The juniors were in a pretty tough spot. The sophomores still had a chance to go out there. As a freshman, we realized we were now in direct competition with one another, but we had time to compete. And I had to figure out, where could I stand out? How could I become one of those 225 people that gets a pilot slot? And so I chose to go the route of, let me become a member of the Wings of Blue. I figured it was an elite team. There weren't a lot of people jumping out of airplanes. It was tied to aviation. This would be a way to stand out amongst my peers. And so I did everything I could, jumped out of an airplane 5 times, did a great job there, got selected for the team. I was really pumped about that. And then we had this one interesting twist. And that was, before our first jump as a member of the Wings of Blue upgrade team, we had to go and get cleared at the altitude chamber. We had to basically go up into this chamber. If you've ever seen the movie An Officer and a Gentleman, they feature it there. You have to be pressurized to a certain pressure, or depressurized to a certain pressure, and then experience hypoxia, no oxygen, and learn about how to deal with all this stuff at high altitude. Anyway, short story is, right before the chamber ride, we had to go get cleared by the flight surgeon. And I had a horrible cold, and I couldn't clear my ears. And so he said, you're not cleared to go. And I said, understood. I can't clear my ears, can't go. Told the Wings of Blue, they said, if you don't show up tomorrow, you're off the team. Well, that's not good. And there's not much that I can do to change my ear clearing thing. And so I said a prayer, went to bed that night, hoping that I'd feel better the next morning. And the prayer was answered. I did. And so I go back down to the flight surgeon's office. I mean, I've got to get there as soon as they open, because the bus is leaving in just a matter of minutes. I go and find the one flight doc who's at work. She takes a look. She sees that I can clear my ears. She's actually signing the form saying you are good to go. And the doctor from yesterday shows up and goes, what are you doing here? And he takes a look at the form. And as I'm explaining to him that, good news, doc, I can clear my ears, he literally rips it up in front of me and tells me to get the heck out of there. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is my one shot. If I don't go to the chamber, then I'm off the team. And he was just angry with me. And to this day, I have no concept as to why. I mean, truly, there was no justification for that. The net effect was, though I could clear my ears, because I didn't go to the altitude chamber, I got cut from the team. And that really threw me for a loop. My opportunities to stand out were now less, because I didn't do some of the other programs that I could have, because I put all my eggs in the Wings of Blue basket. And now that was taken away from me. And what I end up doing from that point on is not trusting doctors. That one experience that one bad experience that I still can't fathom. I have no clue how it was impossible for this guy to concede that I was better today than I was yesterday. That one experience poisoned the well and caused me to absolutely distrust doctors to such a point where when I had symptoms that probably needed to be looked at, I chose to keep them to myself. Didn't share them with my flight doc. And a decade later, I've got colorectal cancer. So I made the broad generalization that one person represented all in that profession, and it comes back to cost me. Question for us as leaders to reflect on is it right to grossly generalize? Is it right to say I've had this one experience, and so therefore all people from that particular tribe, that particular profession, that particular company, that particular entity, whatever, think, act, and do the same things? And when we do that, we do it at our peril. Good. So there's more insight into me. Final bit of insight that I'll offer is the value of extreme tests. In case you aren't tracking, I eventually did get a pilot slot. I was one of the very fortunate 225 from the class of 95 to get to go fly. And I got to live my dream. I flew F-15s and F-22s. But along the way, I almost lost it all. So I'll take you to F-15 school. Air combat maneuvering phase of F-15 school. My week starts out on a high note. I am on top of the world on Monday. By Wednesday, I'm being eliminated from the program, okay? Short story, if you haven't heard it yet, because I've spoken about this on podcasts. The profile was 2 of us against 1 bad guy. All of us flying the exact same airplane, though. We're all flying F-15. So the challenge here is when everybody's in the same piece of sky, we're all tossing and turbulent and 9 Gs and all this kind of stuff. It's very difficult to keep track of who's who in the zoo. And on day number 1, flight number 1, first time ever flying this profile, I accidentally shoot my flight lead. And it's not a good thing to do. It's technically called fratricide when you shoot your own teammate. I shot my own teammate. That was a really bad day. Actually, the sinking feeling in my gut didn't leave me for weeks. Couldn't fathom that I had done such a horrible thing. Imagine if there had been real missiles on board. Good, and that so frustrates me that as I come into my, what's called an X ride, my redo ride the next day, I'm so amped up about I cannot shoot my flight lead that as soon as my flight lead calls, "Fights on," I pull so violently on the stick that I instantly over-G my airplane. I pull 9.1 Gs, and I've broken the airplane 1 second into my X ride. Which, because I've broken the airplane, puts me on an elimination ride the next day. You'd have 2 failures in the same phase of flight, you're going to an elimination flight. Oh my goodness. And I'm now, my circumstances have shifted. I've gone from being top dog to I'm on double secret probation, and I will stay on double secret probation for the rest of the F-15 course. I have to fly with somebody outside of our squadron on this elimination ride, somebody that's not poisoned by knowing me so that they can have an impartial view of do I have what it takes to make it through this program. Oh, it was horrible. It was really bad. And I remember thinking to myself, this could be it. And I'm a 1 ride away from losing everything. And I didn't have a lot to hang my hat on. I mean, day 1, I shot my flight lead. Day 2, I broke the airplane. Like, things weren't trending in the right direction. And I had to really ask myself, who am I here? And as I went and I had my dinner by myself the night prior, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll tell you who I am. I'm an F-15 pilot, and I've got what it takes to make it through this program. And even if it doesn't come out tomorrow, I know that to be a fact. And so I'm going to dismiss everything else from here, and I'm just going to fly my very best. And it was a great forcing function. Like I had to steel myself for this fight. I had to dig deep and convince myself that I had what it took. And it would have been very easy mentally to have just checked out and gone, dude, I'm trending down. There's no hope. I'm out. To even self-eliminate it. But that wouldn't have achieved my ambition. And so I actually decided that my evaluator pilot was the enemy. I was going to treat him like the enemy. I was going to treat everybody like the enemy. I was going to prove that I've got what it takes. And if he didn't agree with me, it was his mistake. And I flew my mission and passed. The rest, friends, is history. What's the lesson here? I think it's that we need those forcing functions in order to figure out who we really are. And when everything is easy, and when everything's been just gifted to us, and when the road is obvious and it's just wide and solid and everything just kind of goes along, you have no idea who you are. And you need the forcing functions. You really need the forcing functions to help you to arrive at what it is that you're capable of being. I needed that forcing function to drive me to a higher state of performance. And I needed to have the confidence that came from that to be able to perform equally well when the stakes were even higher later on. That wasn't the first or the last time that I was going to be exposed to a, hey, everything could end tomorrow kind of a deal. But because of that experience, I knew that I had what it took to get through it. And when you look at high performance teams and what it takes to be a member of them, like none of them are easy. None of them are easy to join. We've got a Navy SEAL on our team. 80% attrition going through basic underwater demolition school. Like, most people don't make it through the thing. Those who do have absolute confidence that they can handle anything. And I think that's important. It's important in helping us to become who it is that we're aiming to be. And so as we go into this weekend, and the opportunity in front of us is to reflect, what kind of a leader are we going to be next week? Got to ask ourselves, are we just giving things away? Can anybody be part of our team? Is it just, just showing up is good enough? Or are we creating a situation where you earn the right and you're grateful for what it is that you've been gifted? Are we creating a situation that causes people to want to give their all because it's special to be here? And are we challenging people? Are we giving them the crucible that they need in order to become their very best? One of the things that I'll tell you about our programs is that they're not easy. I will tell you that our presentations are jam-packed with material. And there's so much stuff there. If you're not on point with us, you're missing things. Top Gun teamwork, not easy. Ask people that have been through the program. It's tough to do everything that needs to happen there. But when you do it, it's so satisfying. That's how we're wired, friends. That's some insight into me and how it is that I think and do. And I hope that scratches the itch for those that have requested it. And for everybody here, know that no matter what you think of me, I'm still rooting for you. And no matter where you are in life, we're cheering you on, want you to lead to the very best of your ability, want you to continue to work to build those teams that win in disruption, and know that I can't wait to speak with you again next Friday.